There was a time when a man could be poor enough to believe that even his soul had a price. Before banks, credit cards, and modern investments, people dreamed of one thing above all else: gold. Gold meant food. Gold meant power. Gold meant protection. But throughout European history, desperate people were said to have searched for another way to obtain it. They turned toward alchemy, forbidden knowledge, mysterious strangers, and eventually, the darkest bargain imaginable. A bargain said to offer unlimited wealth in exchange for the human soul. For ordinary people, poverty was not simply uncomfortable. It could mean starvation. A failed harvest could destroy an entire family. A debt could become impossible to escape. And without money, there was little protection against disease, hunger, or violence. In such a world, stories about supernatural wealth became incredibly powerful. Some believed that hidden knowledge could create gold. For ordinary people, poverty was not simply uncomfortable. It could mean starvation. A failed harvest could destroy an entire family. A debt could become impossible to escape. And without money, there was little protection against disease, hunger, or violence. In such a world, stories about supernatural wealth became incredibly powerful. Some believed that hidden knowledge could create gold. Long before modern chemistry, there were men who believed ordinary matter could be transformed. They were called alchemists. Some searched for the legendary philosopher's stone, a substance believed in alchemical traditions to possess extraordinary powers, including the transformation of base metals into gold. But the search could consume entire fortunes. Laboratories filled with strange equipment, ancient manuscripts promised secrets, and every failed experiment created another question. What if the secret was hidden somewhere deeper? For some believers, science and mysticism were not separate worlds. They were one. Across European folklore, there was a recurring character, a mysterious stranger. He appeared when someone was desperate. He offered knowledge. He promised power. And sometimes, he demanded something in return. The stories varied from one region to another, but the pattern remained disturbingly similar. A desperate person wanted wealth. A supernatural figure offered a solution, and the price was said to be the person's soul. The terrifying part wasn't whether the devil actually appeared. It was that people genuinely believed such a thing could happen. The idea of a supernatural bargain became deeply rooted in European religious culture. A person could supposedly gain extraordinary abilities, knowledge, influence, or wealth. But the bargain came with a terrifying condition. The devil would eventually claim what belonged to him. These stories became warnings about greed, because the temptation was simple: get everything you want now and worry about the consequences later. And history contains real cases of people accused of making such pacts. But accusations are not proof. Behind many of these stories were religious fears, social conflicts, mental illness, fraud, and sometimes people simply trying to explain extraordinary success. But there was another pattern hidden inside these stories. People who became obsessed with wealth often lost something long before they supposedly lost their souls, their families, their reputation, their freedom, sometimes even their lives. The search for supernatural wealth could lead people toward fraudsters, dangerous experiments, criminal schemes, and ruthless decisions. And this is where the horror becomes real. Because you don't need a demon to destroy someone with greed. Sometimes human beings are enough. And then came the most dangerous part. Stories of people who supposedly succeeded. A poor man suddenly became wealthy. A mysterious merchant appeared with impossible riches. An alchemist claimed to possess the secret of gold. To desperate observers, these stories seemed like proof. But wealth has always attracted deception. Fraudsters could use mystery to manipulate desperate people. They could promise secret formulas, secret rituals, secret investments, secret knowledge. And once someone believed that the secret existed, they could be persuaded to pay almost anything to obtain it. For those who believed they had discovered forbidden wealth, fear could become part of the bargain. What if the devil came for them? What if someone discovered their secret? What if their wealth suddenly disappeared? And what if death itself was the final payment? These fears created stories that survived for centuries. A fortune appeared. A person prospered. Then tragedy followed. And generations later, people remembered only one explanation. The money was cursed. So could someone really obtain money through supernatural forces? There is no reliable historical evidence proving that demons, spirits, or rituals can create wealth. But the belief itself is very real. For centuries, people have turned to supernatural explanations when ordinary life seemed impossible to understand. And that tells us something disturbing about humanity. When someone becomes desperate enough, they may believe almost anything. The real danger may never have been the supernatural. It may have been the desperation itself. The stories of people who supposedly sold their souls for wealth have survived for centuries. But perhaps the greatest horror isn't whether the devil ever accepted a bargain. Perhaps it is what people are willing to sacrifice when they desperately want money. Their time, their relationships, their honesty, their freedom, sometimes even their lives. Gold can buy comfort. It can buy power. It can change someone's future. But history repeatedly gives us the same warning. When the desire for wealth becomes stronger than the value of life itself, the price can become far greater than money. And perhaps that is why the oldest stories about cursed wealth still frighten us today, because deep down, we know the temptation is real. Before you go, don't let this story end here. Smash that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with someone who needs to see it. If you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because the next story will be even more shocking. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.